Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Jaya Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Dire Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So continuing a discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 26, verse 27 onwards. Vaikarikat vikurvanan manastattvam ajayata yat sankalpa vikalpabhyam vartate kam sambhavaha. From the false ego of goodness. So yesterday we studied false ego also in 3 modes. So from the false ego of goodness, another transformation takes place. From this evolves the mind, whose thoughts and reflections give rise to desire. The symptoms of the mind are determination and rejection, or acceptance and rejection, which are due to different kinds of desire. We desire that which is favorable to our sense gratification, and we reject that which is not favorable to sense gratification. The material mind is not fixed, but the very same mind can be fixed when engaged in the activities of Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, as long as the mind is on the material platform, it is hovering, and all this rejection and acceptance is asat, or temporary. It is stated that he whose mind is not fixed in Krishna consciousness must hover between acceptance and rejection. However advanced a man is in academic qualification, as long as he is not fixed in Krishna consciousness, he will simply accept and reject and will never be able to fix his mind on a particular subject matter. And so this is the function of the mind: acceptance and rejection. Acceptance or search after something, look after, the desires are there. And then once it achieves it, then he rejects it, then he is looking for something new. So mind is so chanchal, this is what even Arjuna says. So, from the false ego of goodness, mind is evolved. But still the mind is so chanchal, so flickering. Because originally the mind is supposed to be fixed on Krishna. But as long as it is not, then it becomes material, and material mind is never fixed up. So with intelligence, one has to be able to control the mind, but it is very, very difficult to control a material mind. Yad vidur hi aniruddhakyam rishikana matishwaram Shardendi Varshyamam Samradhyam Yogi Bhishana. The mind of the living entity is known by the name of Lord Aniruddha, the supreme ruler of the senses. He possesses a bluish-black form resembling a lotus flower growing in the autumn. He is found slowly by the yogis. The system of yoga entails controlling the mind, and the Lord of the mind is Aniruddha. So this is what Prabhupada explained 2-3 verses back. The Lord of consciousness is Vasudeva, Lord of mind is Aniruddha, Lord of intelligence is Pradyumna, and Lord of false ego is Sankarsana. It's just technical knowledge, otherwise we are not here to worship differently. We just worship straight away Radha Krishna. And in Krishna, everybody is included. It is stated that Aniruddha is four-handed with Sudarshan Chakra, conch shell, club, and lotus flower. There are 24 forms of Vishnu, each differently named. Among these 24 forms, Sankarshan, Aniruddha, Pradyumna, and Vasudeva are depicted very nicely in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, where it is stated that Aniruddha is worshipped by the yogis. So yogis actually worship or meditate on Aniruddha. And when Prabhupada says there are 24 forms of Vishnu, each differently named. So these 24 forms come from, because he has 4 hands and the 4 instruments that he holds: chakra, conch shell, club, and lotus flower. Shank, chakra, gada, padma. So in different hand, like lower hand shankha and lower right hand shankha, upper right hand chakra, and lower left hand gada, and upper left hand padma. So that name is different. So these permutation combinations of 4 different elements makes it, those who are math students, they know factorial 4, so 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, that is 24. So there are 24 forms of Vishnu, but so this represents those who hold this Shank, Chakra, Gada, Padma. Otherwise, there are unlimited forms of Vishnu. Actually, the process of yoga, meditation upon voidness is a modern invention of the fertile brain of some speculator. Otherwise, yogis are supposed to meditate on Aniruddha. Actually, the process of yoga meditation as prescribed in this verse should be fixed upon the form of Aniruddha. By meditating on Aniruddha, one can become free from the agitation of acceptance and rejection. When one's mind is fixed upon Aniruddha, one gradually becomes God-realized. He approaches the pure state of Krishna consciousness, which is the ultimate goal of yoga. So, if nothing else, at least we can pray to Lord Aniruddha to help us control our mind. Or we can pray directly to Krishna, but this form of Krishna is specifically for that purpose, who's the Lord of mind. So we can pray to him. Tejasatu vikurvana buddhi tattvam abhutsati dravya sfuran vijnanam indriyanam anugriha. By transformation of the false ego in passion, intelligence takes birth. O virtuous lady, the functions of intelligence are to help in ascertaining the nature of objects when they come into view and to help the senses. The functions of intelligence are to help in ascertaining the nature of objects when they come into view and to help the senses. So intelligence is a controlling person. Just like when it is explained that the body is compared to a chariot and soul is a passenger. So the horses are the senses. So 5 horses are the 5 senses, and intelligence is a driver, and the lagam is a mind. So intelligence is supposed to control the ropes and the horses and the senses. So if he controls our mind, he can control the senses. So intelligence has to be very strong. But here it is said, by transformation of the false ego in passion, intelligence takes birth. Intelligence is a discriminating power to understand an object, and it helps the senses make choices. Therefore, intelligence is supposed to be the master of the senses. The perfection of intelligence is attained when one becomes fixed in the activities of Krishna consciousness. By the proper use of intelligence, one's consciousness is expanded, and the ultimate expansion of consciousness is Krishna consciousness. So intelligence is supposed to be the master of the senses. So now how Do we sharpen our intelligence? By proper association. Books, devotee association, and Krishna Katha, Krishna Nam, that sharpens, that makes the intelligence more sharp and more strong. So then it can control the mind and the senses. Just like now, coronavirus threat is all over the world. Now the directive has been issued that do not get out of the house. Just stay inside. And 21 days we can break the chain to whatever extent it's possible. So the intelligence should be, let's stay inside. Mind says, the senses say, no, let's go out. What is happening? Nothing will happen to me. What is it? Modi doesn't know anything. All the doctors, they don't know anything. People who have died in Italy, they don't know anything. So those who are intelligent, they stay, they learn from these mistakes that other people have made. But no, since we want to misuse our intelligence, we'll go out, we'll break the lockdown. And funny thing is happening, now there cannot be enough police to control 130 crore people. Cannot be, it's impossible. So if police comes at one place, everybody runs inside, and as soon as the police goes away, they all come outside. As if the police is doing it for themselves. But that's how the intelligence works. And when they get infected, hopefully they won't. When they get infected, then they'll infect others, and then they blame the government. Oh, you didn't do the proper job. If you have so much of intelligence to break the rules, you should have intelligence to follow the rules. But that's where the problem is. Similarly, I mean, this is Corona is one example. This is right now going on. But other cases also, even if the Corona wasn't, the intelligence is still supposed to control the senses and the mind. Mind is very, very flickering, and so are the senses. But they can be controlled. They can be controlled. Intelligence is above the mind. Sanshayat viparyaso nishchaya smritirencha swapiti uchyate buddhe lakshanam vrititta sprithak. Doubt, misapprehension, correct apprehension, memory and sleep, as determined by the different functions, are said to be the distinct characteristics of intelligence. Doubt is one of the important functions of intelligence. Blind acceptance of something does not give evidence of intelligence. Therefore, the word sanshaya is very important. In order to cultivate intelligence, one should be doubtful in the beginning. But doubting is not very favorable when information is received from the proper source. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that doubting the words of the authority is the cause of destruction. So doubt has to be there. That's how we ask questions and the intelligence becomes strong. But doubt, again, doubting at every single step or doubting every single word, that will not lead us anywhere. Yes, one can doubt whatever Modi is saying about coronavirus, but then do your research. But instead of doing research, people are going out. And then it will cause lots of problems. As described in Patanjali Yoga system, Pramana Viparyaya Vikalpa Nidra Smritya. By intelligence only one can understand things as they are. By intelligence only one can understand whether or not he is the body. The study to determine whether one's identity is spiritual or material begins in doubt. When one is able to analyze his actual position, the false identification with the body is detected. This is viparyas. When false identification is detected, then real identification can be understood. Real understanding is described here as nishchaya, or proved experimental knowledge. This experimental knowledge can be achieved when one has understood the false knowledge. By experimental or proved knowledge, one can understand that he is not the body but spirit soul. So the instructions or the knowledge given in scriptures, one has to understand with his intelligence. It's not like one should blindly accept it. Even look at the scriptures, main scriptures, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, they're full of questions and answers. Parikshit Maharaj is asking questions, Vidurji is asking questions, Shaunak Rishi is asking questions. So many questions and answers. What is the meaning of questions? It's either the doubts that are being clarified or they just want to know more. But that is a sign of intelligence. In Bhagavad Gita, it started with Arjuna having doubts. And then he found the right authority, Krishna, and then asked him the questions. So many questions in the battlefield. But when he got his questions answered and he was fully satisfied, he fought. And here also, when Parikshit Maharaj is asking questions, Vidurji, when his doubts are clarified, they'll just go further in their self-realization or in their advancement in spiritual progress. So questions are important, but unnecessary or meaningless queries, or just many times we find people asking questions who just want to challenge. That's it. They don't want the answers. They just want to challenge. In fact, without taking the names, in our class in Delhi, when I used to give classes, there was one person, and that person would ask questions, and instead of listening to the answer, if you have asked the question, at least listen to the answer, at least have this much of courtesy. And then you can ask further questions. But instead of listening to the answer, he would play on her phone after asking the question. What is the point? It was just a challenge, that's all. There's no sincerity, nothing. But this does not help one make progress. I'm not saying I'm the best person in the whole world to answer the questions. I'm not saying that. But if I'm answering based on Prabhupada, my understanding could be wrong. My level of bhakti is nil, nothing. I'm a rotten person. But if I'm answering based on Prabhupada's books, at least take that. Or make your own inquiry or do your own research work after getting the answer. But everybody's different, I guess. Smriti means memory and swapa means sleep. Sleep is also necessary to keep the intelligence in working order. If there is no sleep, the brain cannot work nicely. But this part varies from person to person. Shad Goswamis, they used to sleep at the most half an hour or 1 hour every day. But still they were always vigilant spiritually. Or materially also. They were always working. So one should just take minimum sleep, whatever is necessary for the body. Everybody's body is different. And everybody's lifestyle is different. So whatever the sleep is necessary, just take it. But then, so this is also one of the aspects of intelligence. because sleep is necessary to keep the intelligence in working order. In Bhagavad Gita, it is especially mentioned that persons who regulate eating, sleeping, and other necessities of the body in the proper proportion become very successful in the yoga practice, in the yoga process. Yukta hara viharasya yukta swapna chetasya. So yukta hara viharasya. So ahar and vihar. Vihar means recreation. So it's also necessary. It's not. See, we also when we are trying to be devotees, we think everything other than chanting is Maya, or everything that is not actively pursued in service of Krishna is Maya. But later on, when we make some advancement, we understand everything else is also necessary, and it's given in Shastras. Yukta ahara. It doesn't say no ahar, no vihar. Yukta. Yukta means regulated. Unregulated is a problem, but regulated, eating, sleeping, recreation, it says in Gita. It's not Maya. But so sometimes we equate it with Maya or lack of commitment in Krishna consciousness, and then we judge others on that way, in that way, and then we commit offenses. And if we don't have proper regulated recreation also, recreation could be anything that one has to decide for one's own, then our mind will not accept bhakti properly. Why I say so? We have to let it grow organically, slowly, gradually. We cannot force it. If before coming in association with devotees, we used to watch 4 or 5 hours of TV, maybe shows or movies or sports or whatever. And all of a sudden, we say, no, I am a devotee, I have to chant. And I cannot watch TV, watching TV is Maya. But the mind will not just shut down. Mind will keep on going towards that. So yes, Krishna consciousness, that's the best engagement for mind, for the senses, no doubt about it. But we haven't started tasting that. So the taste hasn't developed yet, and all of a sudden we give up the lower taste, which is obviously other things, but we haven't tasted the higher taste. Then what will mind do? Mind will become more obstinate. And it won't even want to do bhakti properly. So let it grow gradually. It's okay. Because we are in here for a long run. It's not going to happen overnight. Maybe it won't even happen in a lifetime. Maybe we'll take many more lifetimes. I hope not. That's not my wishes. But practically we have to see. So let it grow gradually. It's okay. Take our time. We have to take our time. And we cannot compare with anybody else because everybody is at a different level, different position, mentally, spiritually, with the intelligence-wise. Everybody is at a different level, different position. So everybody will make progress differently. So all we have to do is see ourselves. Where am I and how can I make progress in a better way without creating confusions or without creating chaos or creating issues in the family or in my lifestyle or in my other places. So, and there is place for everybody. Krishna is there to help. Krishna will help. We have to do whatever we do, we have to do with determination and with sincerity. That's all. Prabhupada further says, these are some of the aspects of the analytical study of intelligence as described in both the Patanjali Yoga system and the Sankhya philosophy system of Kapil Dev in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So we'll stop here, see anybody has any questions or comments.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare
This is
Krishna.
not related to anything, the class, but yes, earlier we were used to do the Bhagavad Gita class on Sundays. Now we are continuing with the Bhagavatam classes.
Somehow by Krishna's arrangement, we've completed Bhagavad Gita.
I thought we will start again.
I don't know. Right now, let's go with Bhagavatam because 2 classes will be difficult.
Okay.
So, okay, so we'll stop here. You all have a wonderful day and stay safe. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila
Hare
Prabhupada.
Krishna. Jai Shri.
Thank you very much.
Hare